from Indiana to be here for this special night for him. And here are three of the players he's got to face and try to cope with tonight.
Well, and when you look at this Belgian lineup, these three guys were on the bench for their last World Cup qualifier, so make no mistake about it, these three gentlemen will have something to prove tonight.
And the Belgian side has 8 players who are playing currently in the English Premier League. Romelu Lukaku got a hat-trick against Manchester United last game of the season. And in our Continental Tire Analyst Corner, Taylor will explain how the USA might try to cope with that array of attacking talent.
Well, and Ian, over the last 2 years, Jurgen Klinsmann has talked about a high-pressure system, and part of that system is having your back line play a high line. When successful, you create turnovers in dangerous parts of the field. However, when you don't get immediate ball pressure, and I mean immediate in the midfield, then you really test your back line, particularly the outside backs, and you can get stretched out. Tonight, it is very important that the U.S. back line shorten that field and limit service to Morales, DeFore, and De Bruyne.
One problem for the US, though, has been scoring goals. What are they going to do about that then? Alexi Lalas can join us.
Guys, you know, I often say that form is fallacy. And what do I mean by that? Well, you could be playing incredibly for your club team, or you could be playing very, very poorly. Case in point, Josie Altidore. This season over in Holland, he had 31 goals in all competitions. But the fact is that Josie Altidore has not scored for Jurgen Klinsmann since November of 2011. That was a penalty. The last time Josie Altidore scored for the U.S. national team in the run-up play was in June of 2011. So tonight, we'll see how that season translates for Josie Altidore, and if indeed form is fallacy.
Thank you very much indeed, Alexi. Well, before we start tonight, there will be a moment of silence now for the victims of the terrible tornado in Oklahoma.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for a moment of silence. U.S. Soccer, the Royal Belgian Football Federation, and FIFA ask you to join us in honoring and remembering all of the victims and heroes from the tornadoes that struck Oklahoma on May 20th, including Oklahoma youth soccer players Kyle Davis and Nicholas McCabe.
Beautifully observed by all the players and supporters here tonight. Jurgen Klinsmann just settling down to see how his side copes with this renowned Belgian team. And there's a marvellous sight. Stuart Holden, after an absolute injury nightmare for 2 years, is back.
He must be. How about him yesterday? Was he not the happiest kid in the stadium? Good to see Stuart Holden back with the U.S.
He's had 3 operations. He thought at one point that his career might be over. He says he's like a kid in a candy store waking up every morning as part of this camp. It's a long road back still for him. He may not even appear tonight, but I've got a feeling he might be appearing somewhere soon and getting a little run out. And when he does, the acclaim will be, well, I think thunderous. If anybody deserves a break, it's him. USA to get us underway here then. Coming off a couple of good results in the World Cup qualifying group. There's a lot of work still to be done, and to be done soon in that group. But here's a sharpening up exercise of some significance against Belgium. Here's Clarence Goodson with a little early touch back to Tim Howard, who's back in goal tonight. Brad Guzan filled in for him when he was injured in Mexico and kept a clean sheet. It's brilliant for the USA, really. They have 2 excellent goalkeepers now. Belgium are top of their World Cup qualifying group, level though with Croatia, and only one of them will automatically qualify. The other goes into a playoff, and Belgium are fully aware that they still have to play Croatia away from home in October, so they wouldn't be favourites to make it. That is one tough group, I tell you.
No, but when you look at that group, that June 7th qualifier against Serbia is huge. They get 3 points there. They eliminate Serbia and at least guarantee themselves a spot in the playoff.
Yeah, that's next week. With a transatlantic travel before that as well for the Belgians. No Michael Bradley tonight, by the way, for the United States, because you're wondering where he is. Played in the Italian Cup final at the weekend. He arrives back in the United States tomorrow morning and probably will play against Germany on Sunday. Likewise, Fabian Johnson, who's been on duty for Hoffenheim. They've stayed up in the Bundesliga.
Did you watch that Germany game today?
Yeah, 4-2.
Holy cow.
Yep. They were 4-0 up as well in 23 minutes. Now then, who's the Gatorade prime to perform man tonight then, Taylor?
I look at Sasha Kljestan, because when you look at how the depth of the U.S. midfield with Jermaine Jones, Michael Bradley, Maurice Edu, Kyle Beckerman, he's had a great season. 2 years in a row he's won that championship, but with absences come opportunities to prove yourself. You just have a feeling that for Kljestan, this may be his last opportunity to prove himself to Jurgen Klinsmann.
They are looking for a creative spark. Likewise, Brad Davis tonight might have an opportunity. He's a cultured player playing on the left of a three, just behind Josie Altidore. Here's Vermaelen, who's lost his place at Arsenal. Closing stages of the season. Heavy touch from Fellaini in midfield, but it didn't matter. And here's Jan Vertonghen of Tottenham Hotspur. Clint Dempsey will know him, of course, teammates. Jermaine Jones. And then Kljestan again. I'll be glad they're not having to face Eden Hazard as well. He's still recovering from a hamstring injury picked up in the later stages of the season with Chelsea. So a chance to see him for the United States fans lost, but there are plenty of other stars out there. Good work from Fellaini, who looks to have a slightly deeper role than we sometimes see with Everton. Nice turn by Dempsey. Here's Josie Altidore. Goes for the shot from long range. He really could do with a goal. Loads for his club. A bit of a drought for his country. Clever piece of play there by the Belgians. De Bruyne would be an option here. Here he is. Good build-up play, and in the end Vertonghen was denied by the tracking back Zusi. Did very well there.
You just look at the quality of play, particularly out of the midfield from Belgium. Players running all over. You see De Bruyne taking on Jeff Cameron, overlapping run, but good recovery from Jeff Cameron to get back after that turnover in midfield.
This is De Bruyne to take the corner kick. That's easy meat, really, for Tim Howard. Is Vertonghen again, voted by his fellow players in England in the Premier League team of the season. He was. Really good debut season. Company wasn't in it this time. This is Alderweireld. Marouane Fellaini of Everton getting the little knockback from Lukaku. They really do have strength in depth, because Christian Benteke of Aston Villa, who's been full of goals this season, is on the bench tonight. Probably see him later on. Dempsey, meanwhile, only Altidore in the box. Others beginning to arrive. Comes to Altidore. Can he finish it here? Oh, there was a moment. Alderweireld just smuggled it away from him, but that was good work from the United States and a glimmer of an opportunity for Altidore.
Great combination play from Zusi and Dempsey, but that is a sign of a striker that has the weight of the world on his shoulders right there. All season long, Altidore in Holland hits that first time on goal.
Lukaku here. Oh, Tim Howard. Brilliantly done. But then Morales has put Belgium ahead. What a clever finish. Kevin Morales of Everton. Cool as you like.
Well, how about how quickly that changes? Great combination play from Dempsey and Zusi to give Altidore a chance. And Belgium comes right back. But look at the reaction from Omar Gonzalez and Jeff Cameron. That's too slow. Tim Howard does everything right coming off his line to win this ball, but now you have to recover if you're Jeff Cameron there. You have to make sure that ball is cleared out, and what a goal from Morales. You see the reaction immediately from Tim Howard looking at Jeff Cameron, Omar Gonzalez. Not good enough.
Quite a goal celebration as well. He knew where he was. He was in great form for Everton at the end of the season. He's got that goal as well against his clubmate, Tim Howard, who calls him a shooting star.
Well, and what also did he say? He can bring out magic when no one else can. You saw it there.
It's a lovely finish.
But in these international games, it comes down to taking your chances, and Jozy Altidore with a golden opportunity early in this game.
The United States having to chase this little lesson. This is the kind of opposition they'll face in Brazil. Should they make it, of course, that's still not definite. It was going on this morning, wasn't he, Jurgen Klinsmann, when he was talking to us about speed of thought needing to be improved, and maybe they were just a little slow-witted at the back there in reacting and have paid the penalty. Brad Davis towards Altidore! Didn't quite get on the end of it. Corner. Good defending in the end.
It's a good active start right now from Jozy Altidore, getting him behind, finding those seams.
Here comes the United States corner. Davis with his excellent left foot. Nicely done by Dembele to help out. Look at Vertonghen, he's always quite happy to join the attack. And look at Kompany getting forward here. He was almost the furthest forward there for Belgium. Vincent Kompany, the central defender. Oh, the United States getting themselves in a little bit of a pickle there. Taylor, there's a lot of people saying with this Belgium side, if they get to the World Cup, and they've got a tricky job doing it, as we've explained, they could be the surprise package.
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, look at this starting lineup. 8 of their players are playing in the Premier League, but then when you look at it, Ian, more so, they kind of have this little golden generation going on, very similar to where Portugal was 6-7 years ago. They have to make the most of this opportunity.
Tim Howard was furious with his defence over the concession of that goal. He'd made an important interception. It looked like the danger might be over, but Morales had other ideas, and De Bruyne might have here as well. Didn't really get hold of it, did he?
There's confusion right now because immediately when this ball crosses the end line, Clarence Goodson, Omar Gonzalez, and Jeff Cameron are having heated words with each other, because when Jeff Cameron pushes forward to De Bruyne, Gonzalez and Goodson aren't on the same page.
Here's the man making his 100th appearance, DeMarcus Beasley. The first of them was back in 2001 against China, when Brian McBride was in the team, Eddie Pope, Tony Miola was in goal, Jeff Agus, Landon Donovan was playing then. Zusi inside. Had a bit of a breakthrough, Zusi, in the US side. But they do look bright, Belgium. Full of attacking ideas and good movement. Dembele. Here's the goal scorer, Morales again. This time Cameron stops the ball getting to Lukaku. Brad Davis. Houston Dynamo man plays it back to Sacha Kljestan. Kljestan, a fluent French speaker who plays in Belgium for Anderlecht. He'll know a lot of these players very well. Cameron's ball, not anticipated at all and easily cut out by Vermaelen. Belgium qualified for 6 successive World Cups between 1982 and 2002, but they haven't played in a major championship since then. But to end that little run later on this year. De Bruyne again, this time stopped by Omar Gonzalez. Is question for the USA. That's a very loose ball indeed. Never looked like finding its target. Now the US have to really work hard to get that ball back again and get the shape back.
That's the second or third time, though, in the midfield that there's been miscommunication from the forward line. First, Jozy Altidore, then Graham Zusi. Sooner or later, they got to pull the trigger earlier, or the forward still has to make that run and stay committed. Those are simple giveaways that can't happen against this Belgium side.
Defoe here. Just got to hang on in there in the moment. De Bruyne with the cross in. It's come out here to Morales. Alderweireld, who's been locked at by a lot of Premier League sides. Bossing the game at the moment, no two ways about it, Belgium. Vertonghen, who's strong enough to keep possession as well. Ooh, and that went a long way. Goodson did well, because waiting behind him was Fellaini.
It's amazing when you see the presence of a young forward like Lukaku in the middle. He's standing right between Goodson and Gonzalez, and now it's making it very difficult. So now Fellaini, De Bruyne, anyone can make that run out of the midfield, and both center backs from the US have their hands full.
Play's going to be pulled back here. Dempsey says, why wasn't I allowed to go on? And the referee has blown. Altidore. Company was there for Belgium. The only side to score against them so far in their World Cup qualifying group. Big rivals Croatia in a 1-1 draw. They've been beating Serbia, Scotland, Wales, with something to spare usually. Fellaini again. Will he follow David Moyes from Everton to Manchester United? There's a lot of speculation about that. Jermaine Jones, identified as one of the team leaders by Jurgen Klinsmann.
There's a big difference, though, with Brad Davis on that left-hand side, Ian. Usually we see Hercules Gomez, but Brad Davis is naturally left-footed. He's all left-footed, and he's comfortable out there.
Zusi just about kept it in play. Here's Klestion. Cameron. Now he's out of position, has to get back quickly, the right back. De Bruyne. They're looking a bit vulnerable here. Lukaku wants it played in for him. Here he is. And Tim Howard had read that superbly. Very similar to the build-up to the goal.
Yeah, it's so good from Tim Howard to read that, because Omar Gonzalez and Jeff Cameron are caught out of position. If Jeff Cameron is going to overlap and go forward, he has to make sure he cannot lose that ball there. And if he does, then Sacha Kljestan or Jermaine Jones have to slide over and recover.
Finding it very, very difficult early on here, USA. Dempsey. Tough job for Zusi against Vertonghen. He was a very, very strong and adept defender who can play in the middle as well. Well won back that time. Dempsey away from his Spurs teammate Dembele. Here's Jozy Altidore. Now Graham Zusi, Sacha Kljestan and Jermaine Jones of Schalke. Better period of possession here. Altidore to flick it inside, but in the end it wasn't to anybody in particular.
It's just a little thing, but why use the outside of your right foot? Jozy's extremely active, getting in good spots. Control that ball, maybe try a 1-2 with Clint Dempsey.
One thing you've got to say about Jurgen Klinsmann since he's been in charge, he's set the team a few degree courses, hasn't he, here and there along the way.
He's talked about making players feel uncomfortable.
Some of those tests have been passed along the way, notably the wins in Mexico in the friendly and the win in Italy. But there have been some laboured away displays in qualifying, it should be said as well. The home form, very good in qualifying. And 2 of the 3 qualifiers coming up are at home as well. Jones looking to pick a long ball. Altidore. Inquests in the US defense still going on about this goal, though.
Well, it's immediately when Tim Howard comes off his line, watch the reaction from Omar Gonzalez and Jeff Cameron, because now your reaction has to be there. Both guys get caught ball watching. Tim Howard does everything well, but they're second to that ball, and it gives Morales an opportunity to pick up his head and score a world-class goal.
It's his 7th goal for Belgium, that one, Morales.
You know, I look at tonight's test. This is a difficult test for still a young defender in Omar Gonzalez. He does very well against that physical forward like Lukaku, but it's when the players out of the midfield run and make those overlapping runs, he really struggles picking up the right forward.
Slightly better period here for the US, just starting to fizz the ball around with a little more confidence. But shell-shocked, I think, by that early goal. And again, Dempsey and Altidore not quite gelling together there. De Bruyne again. Perfect weight on the ball. Here he is, Morales, very much a danger man. Fleet-footed, got a few tricks. Still him. And away by Omar Gonzalez.
That was perfect defending from Beasley. That's a foul right in front of the assistant referee.
Dembele. De Bruyne again is on Chelsea's books, so he's playing for Werder Bremen in Germany. The word is that Jose Mourinho will take over at Stamford Bridge and that De Bruyne will be recalled and become part of the Chelsea first team squad next season. Likewise, Lukaku. That's what we're hearing anyway.
You think Lukaku's back at Chelsea?
That's the word that probably Jose Mourinho, if it is him, and it looks like being him at Stamford Bridge, Lukaku will get recalled. We'll see. Did well at West Bromwich Albion. 17 Premier League goals, number 6 on the scoring charts.
He has to play, though. He's got to be somewhere where he's playing in order to make that 2014 World Cup team.
Coming up on Sunday, it's a US men's and women's national team doubleheader in celebration of 100 years of US soccer. First, the US men's team facing Germany, live from the RFK Stadium, coverage beginning at 2 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Then at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN News, the women play Canada. Defoe, who plays for Porto, on the ball here. An accomplished player, who's usually on the bench for the qualifiers more recently, but top operator really. The US have made life a bit hard for themselves tonight. De Bruyne. Morales again. It's a poor cross that time. Way too near to Tim Howard. He made a present of it. Davis, scorer in Major League Soccer at the weekend for Houston Dynamo. Good ball that to Zusi. Too long for Altidore, really. Needed a better delivery than that, and then the ball's given away. Jones, very strong there. Excellent play from him. The US fans trying to lift the side. Beasley. Davis, Altidore got a little shove, nothing illegal really, as the ball came across.
That is why Brad Davis is in here. Give him any opportunity from 30 yards in. He's going to whip that ball in. It cannot just be Josie Altidore making a run inside the 18. That whole bit of possession came from Jermaine Jones winning the tackle, then playing two-touch.
Davis can certainly deliver a cross all right. People have got on the end of them though. Back into the danger zone, and yes, the United States are level. Jeff Cameron up from the back. And suddenly it looks brighter. Jeff Cameron scores his first United States goal.
Well, and now you want to watch Lukaku defend here near post, because this ball goes over his head. We talk about ball watching on the other end. Both guys from Belgium ball watching. Clint Dempsey does exactly what you're supposed to do. Head that back post. Give Jeff Cameron a ton of credit for following the play through. Lukaku and Vertonghen get caught sleeping.
So the United States have done what most of Belgium's World Cup qualifying opponents have failed to do, and that is score against them. The aerial route, Dempsey back across, and Cameron did the rest. Here's Defour for the Belgians. Vertonghen. Really good quick feet. He's got a goal or two in him as well. He scored twice at Anfield this season. Cameron to get it away. A big moment that for Jeff Cameron in his United States career. And it's the first time the United States have scored against Belgium since the 1930 World Cup. Mind you, they've only met 3 more times since then. 3-0 win when the World Cup all started. I think the game was played in Montevideo. Jermaine Jones had to guess a bit with that one, really.
Well, and we've been talking about the United States struggling early on in this game, but you learn a lot in these kind of friendlies, Ian. You learn about response, and this U.S. team has responded very well in a set piece and got themselves right back into the ballgame. You know, these are the type of experiences, you can see it in the players' faces, particularly the back line. Those 3 guys are a little bit relieved. Now they can get back into the game. But these are experiences that build chemistry, build character, that Jurgen Klinsmann was talking about this morning.
A sort of villain turned hero a little bit, because he was being blamed a little bit by Tim Howard and all of us really for some slow thinking on the Belgian goal, but he's come up with the equaliser.
Yeah, but when you're on the field with someone like Jeff Cameron that responds that well, that builds the character of those 11 guys on the field, it's a good response.
The Stoke City man has got the US level here. From Ireland to Vertonghen. Those two could quite easily switch positions if need be. Fellaini. Dembele was robbed by a tenacious DeMarcus Beasley. Now, can the United States build on that? Big confidence lift. Had to chase this game almost from the word go. Good play again from Cameron. Nicked the ball away from De Bruyne. Dempsey tried to make inroads. He's had just a little much-needed rest. Didn't play for Tottenham in their game in the Bahamas against Jamaica the other day. Lukaku, Morales, Lukaku offside. Flag up, won't count. No two ways about it, he was off.
No, but you look at Lukaku and you, notice how his physical specimen, but look at this first touch, Ian. A big body like that to bring the ball down, turn around, and immediately play. That's close.
Close, but offside.
Agreed, but Lukaku with that first touch brought down from a 40-yard ball. Wow.
He's been a star since he was about 16 in Belgium. He's high in the Belgian scoring charts at that age, which is pretty incredible, really. But you just look at him as an athletic specimen, and you can kind of understand why.
Well, it's one thing to be big, strong, and fast. It's another thing to add a touch like that to it.
Baby Drogba, they're calling him. Has half as good a career as Didier Drogba.
Yeah, I was just going to say, those are a little lofty.
Yeah. It's a bit of media talk, Taylor, you know. Good surface they produced here at the home of the Cleveland Browns. Good attendance as well, by the look of it.
Some of the Browns players were out at training yesterday as well, taking pictures, getting autographs.
Well, I hope they're in the crowd tonight.
Well, they are.
The stadium beautifully set by the side of Lake Erie. And that was not necessarily the recommended pass by Vertonghen, and Defoe's ball has just put Alderweireld in a little moment of bother, but their technical ability just got them out of that corner almost without thinking, it seemed, the Belgians there. Same towards Lukaku. Omar Gonzalez heads it away, but only as far as De Bruyne here. Whew. Wow. Alexi Lalas can give us a little more, I think, on that Jeff Cameron goal.
Guys, you know I love set pieces. I love corner kicks. One of the reasons is because there's no rules. It's like the gangs of New York. I guess gangs of Cleveland here. But Jeff Cameron, big push. Everybody screaming and yelling about it. You know what? This is what happens on set pieces. You find a way. The U.S. found a way back into this game. They did it in a very traditional way. Set pieces have always been important to the U.S., especially in a game like this where they are having absolutely no possession. But ultimately, it's 1-1 right now, and they are in this game.
Who's screaming and yelling, Big Red? I didn't see Vertonghen fall down. I didn't see anyone.
They didn't really protest, did they, the Belgians? But I mean, this pushing and shoving goes on every time the ball's in the air like that.
You knew Alexi was going to bring up a set piece, didn't you?
He enjoyed that, I think. Here's the goal scorer himself, Cameron, and converted almost to a right back by his club, Stoke City, and the US are generally using him there. Steve Cherundolo is coming back from a long-term injury. Starts for a little break, and so he can have a summer off and a proper pre-season, and maybe the US will get the benefit of that in about a year's time. Just recharge of the batteries for Cherundolo. There's Altidore. Starting to grow in assurance a little, the US here. It's better, isn't it, Taylor?
It's much better. Particularly because the three in the middle, Dempsey, Kleshin, and Jones, are playing two-touch. Keeping the ball movement. And then when you're Brad Davis, Zuzi, and Altidore, you're in the game.
I like the idea of this friendly, because if you're going to have a friendly match, you might as well make it a significant one that's going to tell you something. And I think that's Jurgen Klinsmann's view.
Yeah, but my key point of this is Belgium brought their A squad.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they're going to play Germany on Sunday, and yeah, that Germany team just beat Ecuador 4-2. I get that, but this is Belgium's A squad other than Hazard. It's a good test.
Well, the Belgians were talking about coming over here. It wouldn't be the natural place for them to go. They'd have a bit of jet lag before going back for their game against Serbia. There's a bit of team bonding, and raises the question, do they think they need that then?
I don't know how many players, though, are going to send postcards from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. Have been stories in the past of divisions, possibly within Belgian camps. We've always had some pretty good players knocking around, and were World Cup semi-finalists back in '86. Remember Jan Keulemans? Fantastic player. Bit later, Enzo Schifo.
He was my favorite.
Yeah, Jean-Marie Pfaff, the goalkeeper. Been a few. Of course, one of the Belgian players of some fame is the current coach, Mark Wilmots, who was captain the last time Belgium reached the World Cup back in 2002. Here's Klestjan. He's quite enjoying that central midfield role tonight. Often when he has been used as a substitute, it's been in a wide position in more recent times. He did keep that in play, ingeniously almost. What a year it's been for him.
Yeah, and I think tonight's a huge test. You know, a lot of us have been very pleased with what Graham Zusi has brought to the U.S. men's national team, but tonight's his first cap against the European side.
Yeah.
And it's one thing against the CONCACAF teams, and it's another thing against Venezuela, which is where his first cap was, but against the European teams, tactically your challenge is more of a mental game. It's a big test for Graham Zusi, and 33 minutes in, he's been a handful.
He's proving too that you can make it into the US side and be a breakthrough player via the MLS route.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at what Clint Dempsey did for 3 years with the New England Revolution and then moved on to the EPL. Graham Zusi's had a great career at Sporting KC. I think he's playing his contract out no matter what reports you read. He wants an opportunity to go to Europe, but tonight's a big test for him.
He did have a little trial at West Ham United, but I don't think that went awfully well. Not because he didn't play well, but I don't think he was working with the first team squad a lot of the time. I think he was working with the reserves. But he's playing almost in the position Landon Donovan would have been playing in.
It's funny you bring up Landon Donovan, because looking at those two gentlemen, those are arguably the two best American playmakers in MLS. Who's the third? Landon Donovan.
I think Jurgen Klinsmann, first of all, wants to see Landon Donovan back at his best for Los Angeles Galaxy, doesn't he? He says the door is still open. Substitution being made here. Pocognoli, wide player, he's going to come on here. Plays at Hanover, where Steve Cherundolo is usually to be found, well, always to be found. So I'm not quite sure who they're going to take off here, Belgium. We'll find out in a moment.
It looks like Vermeulen's down on the bench, icing an ankle or a knee right now. So Morales is playing left back, and Vertonghen's moved in at center back.
Yeah.
Belgium's down a man right now.
They won't take any chances, of course, with this big game against Serbia, the qualifier coming up next weekend. Possession kept well. Dempsey leading from the front as the captain of the side these days. Doesn't have to do any speeches, just has to lead from the front. Now then, Brad Davis, he can let go here with that left footer. He took quite a long time to get the shot away, however, and Vertonghen was able to get in the block.
Just one touch too much.
Changes being made. It's Vermeulen who has come off. And on comes Sebastian Pocognoli. 8th cap for him. Here's DeMarcus Beasley. This is getting better for the United States. Starting to pose some problems. And Belgium has to just reorganize a little. I think Jurgen Klinsmann will be happy with the response. They were outclassed and outplayed in the first 20 minutes or so of this game, but have come back pretty well. And Dempsey, I think he was in an offside position. Coming up on Tuesday, June the 11th, ESPN has a couple of crucial World Cup qualifiers. 7:30 Eastern, Mexico against Costa Rica live from the Azteca. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, the USA against Panama. Be a great atmosphere for that in Seattle, one of the hotbeds of the game in this country, of course. The floodlight just beginning to take over from the natural light here. And this perfect evening for the game. Toby Alderweireld on the far side, the Ajax player. The Tongan's gone back into central defence now. That won't bother him one bit. In fact, he'd probably be happier there. Both sides are allowed 6 substitutions, this being a friendly tonight, and I think we might see quite a few in the second half. It's usually the way of these things. Remember earlier on, Germany, who played the United States in Washington on Sunday, won 4-2 against Ecuador. Beasley, Altidore went down. Well, he wanted the advantage there. Beasley did anyway.
Looks like it was an offside call.
Yeah, that's what he's, yeah. All a bit confusing for a moment, but it is a Belgian free kick.
Belgium's making another substitute. Benteke's coming on.
And that might worry the United States defenders, because he is a handful, I can tell you. Pocognoli here. Good play by him. De Bruyne, who's gone out to the right-hand side now, looks for a little 1-2. It's not cleared properly by the United States defender. They've got a penalty there. They thought maybe DeMarcus Beasley had handballed it, but it didn't look like that. De Bruyne's hand shot up. Davis with that good left foot of his to Altidore. Big summer for Josie Altidore. Remember, he hasn't scored an open play yet. Well, is that handball? Looking at that again. Look at that. Hand was up. A lot of referees would have given that. Probably was a penalty, in all honesty. Surprised more of the Belgian players weren't up for that, really. I took it from the half-hearted response of most of them that it wasn't, but looking at it again. Tim Bailey's, well, Lukaku! Tim Howard got something on that. He needed to as well, I think.
And right now, Clarence Goodson's just having a tough time. He's looking at DeMarcus Beasley to tuck inside on the inside of Lukaku to give him some support.
Here it is again.
That's a handball.
Well,
what do you mean, well? Ball hit him right in the hand.
Yeah, it's got to be a handball that is deliberate. I think the referee took the view that was ball to hand, Taylor, to be honest. But it's whether his hand is raised. Does he put his hand up? Oh, yeah. I think he does.
That's a handball.
I think he does. I'm
100%.
with you. Yep, penalty. Looking at it again. Dembele, by the way, who's gone off to be replaced by Christian Benteke, who got 19 goals in the Premier League for Aston Villa, instrumental with Brad Guzan in keeping them up. Howard elects to punch that time. Defoe has to go backwards in the end. He got caught out a little bit there. And Mignolet had to rescue the situation. That was a miss-hit.
That's such good, simple, hard work from DeMarcus Beasley there. Ian, it's a little thing. He doesn't have to go there. He's the left back. No one on that team has any problem if he holds his ground, but he sees the play through. Now the U.S. get the ball back.
Well, that's the signal, isn't it? The best teams. They're not only good with the ball, they're very good when they haven't got it.
Well, and particularly with DeMarcus Beasley, you know, everyone has criticized over his career as a one-on-one defender. The problem is for him, he can recover against anyone with his speed. So he may get beat the first time, but the second time he can't because he's going to recover better than anyone. We saw that at Azteca in the World Cup qualifier. He was good.
Would have been a nasty thing to happen to him on the occasion of his 100th cap to give away a penalty, wouldn't it? But it looked like it should have been. Davis playing it inside. Brad Davis does bring the United States a bit of extra craft and intelligence, and of course his excellent passing range. Now then, Morales. Goodson gets it out of harm's way. Cameron to Zusi. That goal might have just stung the Belgians a little bit. I'm sure they were thinking, we're the better side here and we're in control, 1-0. But now there's been a twist. Here's Benteke. Whether Aston Villa can keep hold of him is very much open to question, I would say, such as his prodigious ability.
Well, now it's a little bit of a different look for that back line of the U.S. because Benteke will play a little bit closer to Lukaku. We just saw it right there. Omar Gonzalez with good recognition to step forward and win that ball back.
Yeah, they're playing almost like a 4-4-2, aren't they now, really,
Yep.
the Belgians? An early decision taken by Mark Wilmots. And Cameron's ball is a loose one. Jones tried to get it, but then Fellaini did. And that was some careless play. You cannot afford to give it away like that in the middle of the field. Here's De Bruyne cutting inside, and Tim Howard's there in the end. But that all came from a loose pass. Deschamps will get a free kick. Fellaini thought there was nothing wrong with it, but that's often the way of it, isn't it? Altidore going pretty wide.
You don't want Josie Altidore. If you're Jurgen Klinsmann and the U.S. staff, you do not want Josie Altidore on the touchline.
Here's Morales again. Boccanioli. Oh, into a great area. It's a good ball. Lukaku couldn't get the touch it needed, but it was excellently played, that, by Belgium. Don't forget, coming up at half-time, Alexi Lalas will join Taylor to answer your Twitter questions, and they will be revealing the opponent for the MLS All-Star team coming up in July. We will keep it a secret for a few minutes longer. Defoe. Just a minute of stoppage time to be added here. Good comeback by the United States in this game against tough and talented opposition. Start of this massive 3 weeks for the team. It'll be fascinating to see that Germany game on Sunday in Washington, then those 3 World Cup qualifiers, first of them away to Jamaica on Friday week. Cameron did well there, used his physicality, got the foot in. Here's Dempsey. He's looking at where Brad Davis is, and while he was thinking, the Belgians, hunting in packs, pickpocketed the ball. Jones sweeps it out to DeMarcus Beasley, and that will be half-time. And I would think Jurgen Klinsmann would be pretty happy with the way that his side got over what was a torrid opening 20 minutes. Pretty bad goal to give away. Very well taken by Kevin Morales. But then Jeff Cameron, with his first ever goal for the USA, came out with that headed equaliser to give the United States some hope in this game on what is a learning exercise. Taylor and Alexi coming up to answer your questions at halftime. Join us for that.